The Land Rover Range Rover Sport, say that 5 times fast, comes from a British company with a reputation for off-road capability and interior opulence. Now, despite the looks and its name, this vehicle doesn't share that much with the flagship Range Rover. Instead, it's a rebodied Land Rover LR3. Is this a sporty or Land Rover? Unlike Land Rover's other SUVs, the Range Rover Sport is somewhat biased towards on-road performance. It actually does pretty well there. The steering, it's responsive, it has good feel, and there's not a lot of body roll. The Range Rover Sport isn't as impressive when it's pushed hard. It becomes somewhat ungainly then. It did post a decent speed in our avoidance maneuver, but the stability control, it had to work pretty hard. Didn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. The sports ride is pretty stiff, especially over road imperfections at lower speeds. On the highway, it smooths out. Noise-wise, the interior is pretty hushed. 300 horsepower sounds like a lot, but it only gives the Range Rover Sport adequate performance. After all, this is a heavy SUV. It also only returns 14 miles per gallon, and that's on premium fuel. Also, this powertrain, it took a long time to tow our 5,000-pound trailer to 60 miles an hour. You can get a supercharged version, but that costs more money. It's probably going to drink more gas. Braking performance is very good, with short stops in the dry and in the wet. The Range Rover Sport has all sorts of features to help you when you're off-road. You can set the four-wheel drive system depending on the type of terrain you're going on. You can raise and lower the suspension. There's even a convenient display that shows which way the front wheels are pointing. That can be helpful in some off-road situations. All in all, the Range Rover Sport, it does pretty well off-road. There's good ground clearance, plenty of traction, really good throttle modulation. A pleasant side effect of the Range Rover Sport's upright styling is you get great visibility out the front and the sides. There's a lot of glass here, low dashboard, low door sills, thin pillars, really easy to see out of. But there's a couple of annoyances. First off, there's a defroster grid in the windshield. It does a great job at getting rid of ice and snow, but if you see the grid lines, they'll drive you crazy. They can also cause some glare at night. Also, when we bought this $62,000 car, a backup camera wasn't available, not even as an option. The Range Rover Sport lives up to the traditional definition of British luxury. Lots of soft tufted leather, nice dashboard materials, and big wood paneling on the console and on the doors. One cool feature, this refrigerated console compartment. All in all, it's a very well finished interior. Only sore point, there's some oddly ragged edges near the headliner. It also lives up to the British tradition of having eccentric controls. Take the center console. There's big knobs and buttons here, but this looks like a tune knob. It isn't. Instead, it goes through the menus. The climate knobs, they're all low here on the dashboard. The power lock button, here on the center of the dash rather than on the doors. Up high on the doors, power window buttons. All in all, a lot of odd things that could be better designed. But once you get beyond the complaints about controls, there's lots to like in the Range Rover Sport's interior. You sit up high, you have a commanding view out. It's a really good driving position, helped by a tilt and telescope wheel. The front seats, they're comfortable and supportive. Some might find them a little bit narrow, though. The back seat, it's just as accommodating. There's plenty of room back here, and a surprise. The center seat position, it's well contoured, so it's actually comfortable for whoever sits here. In the back, you can open the glass on its own to reveal a large cargo area. The Range Rover Sport hits on all the points that make Land Rover so appealing. It looks great. It does really well off-road. It has a luxurious interior, and as an added bonus, it actually drives pretty well on the road. However, this is $62,000, and 14 miles per gallon isn't that impressive. All in all, no one's going to mistake this as a practical SUV.